Hello and welcome to Lunchtime with Dr. Nadine. This is our final day in the series for the month of March as we celebrate women. And this time we were celebrating some of my clients who went through the Runway to Soul coaching experience and also the speaker mentorship program. You can let us know in the chat where you are joining us from. We're excited to have you here because today we have another special guest. Her name is Donna Howell, and she's joining us from some part of Canada, and she's going to tell you. So, Donna, we want to just welcome you to the Lunchtime series,
Thank you for having me.
and we would like you to introduce yourself. Tell our listening audience, tell our viewers a little bit about yourself, your background, where you're joining us from, and so on as we go into the interview.
Hi, my name is Donna Howell, and I am joining you from Victoria in British Columbia, Canada. I was born in Barbados in the Caribbean. I relocated a little over 30 years now. I've been living in Canada. Yeah, I'm a mother of one beautiful daughter. Yeah,
Awesome, awesome. We're so excited to have you here with us today.
thank you.
Now, Donna,
Mhm.
I know that you are an amazing woman of God. I know that you love the Lord. I know all of that because even before we officially met, I believe it was somewhere about something spiritual, kind of like connected, how, we began our journey and so on. But I want you to tell us, because you've been through the Runway to Soul coaching experience,
I
you have
have.
had an amazing journey. And I want you to tell our viewers, what was life like for you prior to coming into the Runway to Soul program? What were you doing? What were your desires, etc.?
Prior to the Runaway to Soar program, I was working as a caregiver,
Okay.
um, loving working as a caregiver, but deep down inside knowing that I needed to do more, desired to do more, and there
Hmm.
was more for me to do.
Yeah.
And, it was after a month after actually signing up for the program, um, I got ill. I
Okay.
lost my job.
Mm-hmm.
And I then, even though sick, had the time and the opportunity to work then on myself because I was craving that inside. Lord, I love what I'm doing, but I know that there are other things that you want me to do.
Mm-hmm. You
Hmm.
know, yes, so you were a caregiver, but there was this nudging on the inside
Yes.
of you. There was something in you saying, I am doing a good job. I'm doing a great
Yeah.
job. I'm helping people. But
Yes.
somehow or the other, I'm feeling as if there is more.
More.
And the thing is, many women are at that place in their life right now. And you
Yes.
know when you're called to something higher or something greater, when you're doing something that you already love, you're excellent at it. But there's this nudging inside of you, there's this thing in you. And I find a lot of my clients have been at that place. And I know that place as well, where you're feeling this higher calling. You're not exactly sure what it is, but you know there's more. You have a desire for more. It's almost like you're pregnant and you're uncomfortable and you need to give birth. And until you give birth, you'll always be uncomfortable because there's this thing growing inside of you, causing you all kinds of discomfort up in there. And when the
Yeah.
baby comes out, you're good again.
I say it's you're doing the right thing for the wrong reason.
Mercy. Explain that to us.
Doing the right thing. Caregiver job is doing the right thing.
Hmm.
However, that's not the sole reason for
Hmm.
me to be here. So
Hmm.
while I am doing a good job, doing a job which I love to do is not my sole purpose for being here. So it's doing the right thing for the wrong reason. A lot of women do that.
Mercy. Yes, I love that. One of the ways I put it when I present on prayer is I say to people, every good thing is not a God thing.
Yeah.
And every good thing is not a God thing for you. because there are so many good things that we could do, so many great things that we can do, but these things may not necessarily be aligned with our true purpose. Hence, we have that feeling of discomfort that though I'm doing that good thing, I'm not where I'm supposed to be. I'm not
That's
where
right.
I'm meant to be. I'm not having the impact I am supposed to have. And that's the reason why we go in the pursuit of purpose. And so,
Yes.
you, Donna, when we met, you came to me at a point where you were looking for your purpose, you were searching for your purpose, you were searching for the deeper meaning of what
Yes.
you're supposed to do, or the deeper meaning of life.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about, what that journey was like for you as you went through the Runway to Soar coaching experience and even the certified peer counselor class. What was that like for you in uncovering different things about you? Just talk to us about that journey.
Um, the Runaway to Soar and the prayer counselor, I did them both together, side by side. However, I veered more toward the prayer. I think I completed the prayer before I did the Runaway to Soar. But both programs, I would definitely recommend it. The Runaway to Soar, I think the first module, it says, "Who are you?" And it had a list of different titles.
Mm-hmm.
And first I said, "Oh, I know who I am." And I started jotting down. And then I read it over. It said, "Who are you?" These are just the titles that you've been called, right?
The
Like
role that you
mother,
play.
kid, roles that you play. But who are you? And I was struck for a minute and I was like, "But who am I?" And then I ran over to the certified prayer counselor course and I said, "God, who am I? What am I here
Mm,
for? What is my purpose?"
wow.
And slowly by slowly, he revealed to me what my purpose was. And I said, "You've given me, now I'm running with it." I'm
Yeah.
running with it. Yes. But
Okay, so that's
deep,
module one.
yes,
So
yes, yes.
module
It's
one
deep
had
dive,
you going deep diving into
deep
your life,
diving.
into your story. Who
Uh,
am I? And what you just said there, it's really very common among Christian women. I remember, traveling in 2019 and even 2018 as well, doing some women's programs globally.
mhm,
And I remember going through that very same process with
yeah.
many of the women. And one time I remember being in an auditorium with over 200 women, and they had that very first assignment, who am I? And so they were all excited to tick these boxes and stuff. But then I said, these are the roles that you play. Now I need you to describe yourself to me, not using any of these roles of
No.
being a mom, being a wife, an aunt, and this and that. And women began to sit there. And I remember some of them crying, saying to me, I always thought that was who I was.
Yes.
Somebody asked me, I meet somebody and they ask me, tell me a little bit about yourself. Oh, I'm a wife. I've been married for to a number of years. I have this number of children. And they're like, that's what has defined me. So now, like, I'm now have to ask myself, who am I? And I remember so many of them crying because they're like, I just don't know. I never
No.
thought about it on that level. And so
Yeah.
what your experience was is the experience of so many of the women, just
Yes.
having to describe ourselves outside of these roles that we play, to
Mhm.
understand that we have more. And so as you
Yes.
went through that, what did you reassign your name to be? You remember when you had to reintroduce yourself?
Yes. Yes. Dynamic Donna.
Dynamic Donna. Hello. Okay, awesome sauce. Beautiful. So tell us more about that journey. You said that you went through the certified prayer counselor class much quicker. That class has 12 modules. The Runway to Soar has 8. But I do understand that for many of you ladies, you actually go through the prayer class, because now, when you kind of deepen your relationship with God, when you really work intentionally on building that effective prayer life,
That's
it
right.
helps you to go through the Runway to Soar with greater revelation, because there is a deeper
Yes.
connection. So talk to us about that.
Yes. The prayer counselor class, it's getting deeper and closer.
Mm-hmm.
The runway to soar is deeper and the certified prayer counselor is getting closer. I can't remember which model, but it said, make God personal. He's intimate. And I'm saying, what do you mean intimate?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What do you mean intimate? He's an intimate God. He wants to know you on a personal level. And I'm saying, everything? And he said, yes, everything. And so it just, opened me up to God. and to say, okay, here I am. You already know anyways. And it's connection. It's just getting in touch, in tune with God. And even from that, I said Elroy, the God who sees me.
Uh-huh.
El Shul, the God who gave me birth. And I connect with El Dia,
Uh-huh.
the God of knowledge, because my middle name is Eldine. And that's such a connection that the knowledge is in me that he placed there already.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting to that knowledge, drawing closer to him.
Right, that is amazing, beautiful pools of wisdom right there. And so yes, so you use that prayer class to help you to, you said, to grow closer. You use the runway to soar to help you go deeper so that you can
Yes.
really connect with the inner woman, really connect
Yes.
with that aligned purpose
That's
that
right.
God had for you. So we
Yes.
the first module, somebody's saying, yep, it's always the first module that stumps us.
Who are you? You're like, what do you mean? Who am I? And then it sinks in like, who am I? Right?
Awesome. I like that. So now tell me something else, right? So
Mhm.
I know you enjoyed the certified prayer counselor class tremendously, immensely. I know that you did because I saw all of your comments all of the time. You would keep on giving feedback and stuff as you went through. And you spoke about module one. Was there any other moment? What was like your wow moment? Your greatest wow moment? You may have a few, but what was the
Mhm.
thing apart from the who am I? Because that's critical, it's essential that you were able to go that deep and then
Yeah.
you go back to God to help give you a kind of assessment or revelation rather of who you are in him. So
Yeah.
what were your other moments, wow moments, the transformational moments for Donna Howell in the Runway to Soar program?
The transformational moments, I think it was module 6 or 5, and it spoke about who do you serve now? You
Mm-hmm.
have all of this information. You know who you are. Who do you serve? What do you do with the knowledge? There are women like you need to share this information with.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm saying, wow, just wow. It really was a wow moment. Knowing the clients that I'll be serving, the women that I'll be serving, the knowledge that I'll be sharing and passing on with them.
Mm-hmm.
So incredible.
Yeah. So it was an incredible moment for you because now you realize that you were called not just to deepen and
Yes.
grow closer, but now
But
to also reach out,
to reach out,
serve,
to
you know?
serve the leader that is within.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to serve. Yes.
Beautiful. Wow. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, Donna,
Mhm.
you had these amazing moments, the transformational journey and stuff. When you started the program, you were seeking purpose. Did you find it?
I sure did. Yes.
You were seeking to have that deeper connection with God. Did it work?
Yes. It did. It did. It gave me clarity on who I need to serve. It
Hmm.
sure did. Yes.
Beautiful. So what are you endeavoring to do now that you've really gone deep and you're connected to that inner woman, you're connected to that divinely aligned purpose. You understand that you're here for more than just connecting with God and more than
Yes.
just connecting with you and more
Yes.
than just, being aware of that calling. So what do you plan to do with that? Who are you going to serve? What are you going to do?
My service is for women who have been divorced,
Okay.
women in their 50s who need to restart, who need to start over,
Mm,
who is just sitting on the fence because the marriage has fallen apart, they're divorced, they don't know where to start, they know they need to do something, they need to move forward. They don't know how to move forward. They're hurt, they're in their feelings, they don't have a clear picture of how to begin. I serve that lady. I serve that woman. I serve that mom, the grandmom, 50 plus, the best years of your life, the restart.
hello, the best of
Yes,
your life. You
the
know,
best years.
so I'm going to ask you a personal question
Go
because
ahead.
I mean, if you're feeling called to serve women, 50 plus who are divorced, who are looking to start over, does that mean that you have a story behind that, because usually the calling that we have is
Yeah.
somehow connected to our life's experiences, something that the
Yes.
enemy may have meant for evil that God will be using for good. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about your background, your story, and how that became something that is so weighted on your heart.
Yes, well, I am divorced, and that for a little while after a divorce, it's, a loss. You feel hurt, denial, maybe even shame,
Mm-hmm,
depression, all of that steps in.
mm-hmm,
But then you get to a place, I got to a place where I said, there's much more. There have to be much more. The negative thoughts
mm-hmm.
that plague you, plague women, I have no place, I have no purpose. No, you do have a place, you do have a purpose. And the more I dig, as I said, and I went into the modules, that came out to be
Wow.
much more.
Mm-hmm,
You have a purpose to help women. There are many women who are hurting, you know, who
mm-hmm,
don't know where to go for help, who don't know how to begin again because they've been hurt so much.
mm-hmm.
And
Mm, mm.
sadly, in the church, there's so many. I mean, we're not meeting really where we can sit, but even in the virtual
Yeah.
space, you get onto a platform and you may see even the wife of your ex. There's
Mm.
hurt, there's animosity, that needs to be let go of. There is life after divorce. There really is.
Wow, that is powerful. And it's something that the church doesn't really address, because
No.
number one, as far as the church is concerned, you should stay in your messy marriage anyhow. Right? Because we tell people, and we use the Bible, and we tell people, God doesn't like divorce. I've heard that so many times already. God doesn't like divorce. So people
Mm,
prefer you to stay in a messy situation where you're being disrespected, where you're being emotionally abused, financially abused, possibly
mm,
physically abused, all types of abuse. And then we use these words so loosely. God doesn't like
yes.
divorce. So
Mm, mm,
I think that because we have that opinion, and because we're
yes.
trying to indoctrinate people into accepting that, we have
Yeah,
not seen fit to begin to serve another group of people within
that's
our
right.
population that are also hurting, that also need support, and so on. And it seems like that's the work that God is
Yes.
calling you to do.
Yes, because you have singles ministry, women's ministry, but what about the divorced ministry?
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, what about the women, right? It's
mm-hmm,
feeling left behind. But
mm-hmm,
we are part of the church and we do have a voice and
mm-hmm.
we are starting over and we
Yeah.
need to be accepted. The church first.
Wow, imagine that. So it's almost like you feel like it's an ostracized group.
Yes,
Wow.
yes, yes, I do strongly feel,
Wow.
you're
You know,
divorced, okay,
hmm,
you're not included, you're not invited. Oh, well, it'll be okay. You can find another husband. Meanwhile, okay, there's hurt. And why go into another relationship and there's still hurt? You're going to bring that baggage with you.
so you're calling, and based on what you're saying, it seems as if you're trying to help people heal from
Yes,
whatever happened within a dysfunctional or unhealthy marriage before they
yes,
can begin to really live again.
that's right. Exactly it.
Wow, that's
It's
amazing.
needed. It's needed. It's needed. There's so many hurting women. Don't know. I have associates, I have friends, I have family members who are
Mhm,
stuck,
mhm,
stuck. It's like
mhm.
they're in their head and they cannot get out. They cannot see a way. It's like, this is my lot. And I'm saying, no, it's not your lot.
Mm.
So
Do
to
you
get past,
do you think that religion has a role to play in people feeling that way?
I do. I do. Because it's like, you get married and that's your life. But what about the divorce? What about after marriage? What about the marriage not working out,
Hmm.
right? And you going your separate ways. Then what? The church doesn't address that. It's married, you're married or you're single. You don't hear about the divorce.
Right.
As I said, the ministries, single ministry
Yes.
and the women's ministry and the married couples. But what about the divorced woman? What about the divorced woman?
Do you think it's because in our minds, as hypocritical as it may seem, in our minds we're
Mm,
saying to people, once you get married, that's it. And so if you get outside of that institution, then you're no longer maybe.
yeah, you're no longer part of the group, part of the crowd. Yeah, there's no room.
Oh
Mercy.
goodness, wow. You know, it has always like tickled me in a very negative way how we married in church and unhappy,
Mm,
married and miserable. But
mercy.
before you see a young person speaking to another young person, you will come to ask that person, when are you getting married? And you're unhappy
Mm,
in your marriage. You are terrified. You're probably being abused in some way or another, but
that's
yet you cannot see the happy single people there. You want to ask them about when they're getting married. Give them a break to enjoy their life, to really connect with themselves. And I'm thinking to
yes.
myself, misery loves company. Why
Mm,
push people into that institution that I personally believe that the church has not even really prepared us for?
that's right. That's right.
You
That's
go
right.
into this thing, and I think they think, okay, you do premarital counseling, maybe that might help, but there are a lot of truths that we don't share in church. And I
Yes.
personally believe if we were much more authentic in church,
Mm,
less people would be married, people would take longer to get married and stuff like
yes.
that. And I think if we truly had to be honest
Yes.
with where we are right now, I remember last week somebody making a statement about the high rate of divorce in the Adventist church.
Mm.
So I was like, okay, let me just get out there. And I said, listen, if we have to live honestly, the divorce rate would be way higher.
Higher, higher.
If people had to be honest about their
Mm,
marriages and their situations, it would have been a
yes,
much higher divorce rate. So while we
that's
want to
right.
be, like really pounding it down that it's a high rate now, there are so many people living in misery because they're afraid to get divorced, because they're afraid to be judged, they're afraid to be in
Yes,
that group that you're talking about that
yeah.
feels ostracized, they're afraid to
Mm,
be ridiculed for it not working out. But I
yes,
love your mission that there is life after divorce, that there is purpose for you in
yes,
that particular group that may feel ostracized, and God is going to
yes.
do an amazing work. I love that mission. I'm getting too excited. Look, somebody said that the truth is divorced women are often ostracized. Marlene
Yes,
is saying powerful. She said we all need to feel empowered regardless of our marital status. And that is so
definitely.
important because
That
even
is.
single people, single women in the church sometimes
Yes,
feel less than because people
yes,
act like if you don't have a husband, you don't have a ring on your finger, then you're not truly
yes.
a woman.
That's right.
Even when they're miserable in their situation, that's what hurts me. It's not like you all there. You're not happy
Mm,
in your situation, but you
yeah,
want to make a young woman or a single woman feel less
woman,
than
that's right.
because she
Mm,
don't have a husband. So, is there
mm,
a prize? Does having a man validate you as a woman? For me, the
mm.
answer is no.
No, a big no.
You are a full woman,
That's right.
created in the image and likeness of God. Donna, today you
That's
struck a
right.
good girl. You are fully created in the image and likeness of God. You're not
That's right.
validated by having a man's last name. I see
No, you're
some of
not.
our young people before they finish walk down the altar, their name done change on Facebook already. Hello,
Mm,
you already woman.
mm.
We need to stop that foolishness. Seriously. Um, Giselle said it is unfortunate. Our
Fortunate.
church lack a lot of
That's right.
in terms of addressing the emotional needs of the members. Angela is saying the
Mm,
church wants us to stay in the miserable and wretched situation. And if you're divorced, you become the scorn of society. You go down, there is a place for your ministry. Yes, yes, yes. And
encouraging.
Patrice joining us there from the UK, she says, divorce does not determine your future. And
That's
I
right.
totally agree. Donna,
That's
girl,
right.
listen, this is, I just love the mission. I love it
Yes,
because
absolutely.
I know so many women who are divorced, who chose to honor themselves, who chose to love themselves, who chose to be above the situation that they're in and take a step
Yes.
of faith and get out of a bad situation, knowing that the church members were going to
Mm.
chew them up for breakfast, lunch, and
And
dinner,
then,
and even snacks in between. And so I
wow.
honestly, I applaud, I bow to every woman who had the strength and the power and courage to get out of a situation that was no longer serving her. Because
Yes.
too many women, and one of the things I see women say, they're like, oh, I'm gonna stay for the sake of my kids. And I'm like,
Mm,
nonsense. You're not doing it for the kids. The kids
no,
already know the situation. They
that's
already know
right.
what's up. They feel it. You're
The
doing
kids,
it.
yeah, the kids are waiting for you to make a move. Like, mom, let's go.
Yeah, you're doing it so that the church members don't talk about you. You're
Mm,
doing it because you're afraid of being judged and ridiculed. And that's the reason why we stay in these horrible situations, because we're afraid to be judged by people. And I
yes.
mean, I really love your work. So tell me that restart that you spoke about.
Mhm.
I know
Yes.
you spell it RESTARTT. Walk us
Yes.
quickly through what's the process you're taking them through.
Restart is a process of self-discovery. Self-discovery. You're remembering experiences. You are addressing those experiences, those situations. You are digging deep. It's just like going through the prayer counselor, run away to sort. You are digging deep within yourself. There's more to you.
Mhm.
Remembering the experiences and the situations, you're going to address those situations because sometimes you are stuck, don't know how to go forward, but sometimes you need to step back and address those situations in order to move forward. So a restart is actually a restart. Step back and move forward.
Wow. Okay. So you help them to analyze. And do you know,
Yes.
there's another client of mine who went through Runway to Soar. Her name is Jessel Prescott, and she's
Mm-hmm.
actually from the island of Trinidad and Tobago. And she is also going to be working with divorced women because she had her own experience as well and had to restart
Yes.
her life. So I guess you guys can collaborate at some point. But I think,
Awesome.
yeah, it's really, really good. That discussion. And I could almost imagine having these discussions
Mm,
about what divorced people go through.
yes.
Not even the sad thing is emotionally people go through stuff. And what I love about women, I'm gonna put it out there, I'm gonna put it out there. What I love about women is that when they are in a terrible marriage, okay, we're in
Mm-hmm.
a terrible situation, we take and take and take. We mourn and grieve while we still in the marriage. And the day that that woman walks away, it is finished because she left the marriage years ago already. She left that
Mm-hmm.
marriage so long ago in her mind. She checked out so long. She just had to go through the grieving process while she's there. And when she's
Yes.
gone, she's done. And so sometimes when she does it that way, most women that I have interacted with, that's what they did. When they did that, they didn't care what church members had to say because they
Yes.
knew what they were going through. They had
Yes.
already cried and grieved and mourned the
Mm,
death of a marriage that you saw
yes.
them showing up with the spouse. When she
Yes.
was grieving and mourning and wearing that black coat on the inside of her every day that you don't even see. And
Mm,
then now, when she has the courage to
yes.
take the last step, how dare any of us judge?
That's right.
I
That's right.
just find it rather amazing. Marlon is saying, shame on us Christians, you know?
Mm.
So I love this. Oh my God. Satan
That's
has a
right.
lot of weapons to keep women down, and a bad marriage is one of them. I cannot
Mm,
see your name right now because I think it's in another group, but I could not agree with you more. And I'm looking
that's right.
forward to seeing who made that statement because you're reading my mind. I personally believe that a horrible marriage is one of the
That's right.
ways that the enemy has to
Keeps
prevent
you down.
women from actualizing and living in their true purpose.
Purpose. That's right.
We have a question here. Um, what about those whose parents were divorced and grew up with fears of marriage, trust issues, and trauma? Emotional healing for that is so needed too.
Yes. Yes. Of course. Of course.
So,
It, go ahead.
no, 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 you. So, part of your work, does that include part of the work that you'll be doing?
Yes, because it's, as I said, you're deep in it's self-discovery. It's like you're going to share your story. And from your story, you are going to see part of that is journaling.
Mm-hmm.
And when we write things and it's face to face with you. right? And so taking you through that journey, through that journaling, through that self discovery. Of course, you're going to bring out the emotions. Of course, there's hurt. As I said, there's hurt. Some women cannot get over the hurt,
But
you
there are
know, and the
kids
fears.
But there are kids who were in divorce, they were in situations when their parents got divorced and were affected by divorce. And the question is, these
Mhm.
people, they have not been divorced, but they have gone
Yes,
through a
through
divorce.
the divorce,
And
through a
so, even
divorce.
though they were never married, they went through the divorce of their parents, and they have hurt that is attached to that breakup of their family,
Yes,
right?
yes,
And
yes.
they have issues, their fears of getting married, they have trust issues and trauma. That is a whole other group of people that
That's
need to
right.
be attended to. So, if one
Yes.
of the ladies listening, if God has called you, somebody needs to stand up to serve the children
Those
who
children.
came out of divorced situations, because
Yes.
many times, yes, they have the trust issues. And I think a lot of it, what we have to do is go back to the drawing board, back to God, because the enemy loves that. In his mind,
Mm,
Ellen White has a thought. And she said that he delights, I'm paraphrasing, that he
mhm.
delights to mismatch people before
Yes.
marriage, so that when we get married, we bring in kids into the marriage, and then of course divorce and all of the troubles that are there, so he can mess up other lives. The whole point
Yes.
of his work is that he wants to mess up as many of us as
Yes,
possible.
sir. Yes, sir.
But
Yes,
if
sir.
you're out there and you are the child of divorced parents, I want to let you know that yes, there was a lot of hurt maybe associated with the thing, but there is a life ahead of you. You do not
Yes.
want to hold on to that baggage that wasn't yours. Yes, a lot of things may have happened in between, but we're not going to allow the enemy to take your life from you, take your youth from you, take your purpose from you because of what happened with your parents. And so somebody said something here I really like. Satan has a lot of, okay, we said that. She says, if when women stay in bad situations, the glory doesn't go to God. Satan gets it. And I agree with that. You know why I
That's
agree
right.
with that? I was writing it. I wrote it down last week. A thought to that extent. Because I was saying, when we stay in bad marriages, we think that we are honoring God, but we are truly
Mm,
honoring self. Because
yes.
it's self preservation of being
Mm,
judged, self-preservation of being ridiculed. So we're not staying there to bring honor and glory to God. We fool
mm,
ourselves. We try to tell ourselves, I'm staying in this marriage because God doesn't like divorce. I'm staying in
yes.
this marriage because the enemy is attacking my marriage and I have to fight for it. I'm staying in this marriage
Mm,
because I need to be a good example to my kids. And we give ourselves all of these kinds of reasons to keep us in a bad situation, but we're not honoring God in the situation, because God did not create you to be in a messy situation. God
that's
did
right.
not create you to be unhappy. I'm speaking to you and I'm speaking to myself, and that's why I'm going through the process of these things, because I understand that we are not honoring God if we are unhappy.
No.
We cannot fully show up authentically in our power, operating at the highest level in our purpose, if we are in a toxic situation, because the
Mm,
toxic situation drains you, draws away your energy, and over time, you become weakened and you cannot really operate in your highest level. There
no.
are many women who need to be divorced because they're walking around and their lights are out. The light bulbs are gone in their eyes. Why? Because
Mm,
the situation is so toxic and they have taken it for so many years that they've lost their
yeah.
spark. Just this week, I spoke at a conference, Wounds to Scars, Keep It Real.
Mm,
I feel like I brought a little bit of that here today. I was talking about emotional healing and spirituality. And that's
yes.
the kind of thing that we keep doing, acting as if we're honoring God, when truly we are honoring self. Yes. And so, yes, somebody says you have a lot of clients all around the world. Your story will help mend a lot of brokenness. You will help many young women make better life choices prior to marriage. You will help them learn and
Mhm.
strengthen. Amen. Praise the Lord.
That's right. Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
Somebody says, thanks. I am that person and I appreciate it. You're very welcomed. We are
Mm,
happy for you. Marlene says
yes.
they can learn a lot from our mistakes. They can learn from
That's
our
right.
mistakes, but it takes open dialogue. And that's the open dialogue that we're not
That's it.
having. The
Mm,
dialogue. If we were honest, I
That's
have
right.
been married for the past 10, 15, 20 years, and this is my situation. I want you to understand that marriage was instituted by God, but it's not an easy journey, and you give your
Mm,
real counsel. Don't come
that's
there
right.
trying to pretend that is perfect.
No,
And then
no.
people get into it, and as soon as you get into it, you're like, what? And then you know
Mm-mm.
what? You begin to feel like a failure. I
Yes.
remember very early in my marriage feeling like an absolute failure because I'm like, I'm good at so many things, but I'm not good at this. Because your
Mm,
expectations are ridiculous. Like you just like you think it's supposed to be a pretty picture, and then when you look at it, it's
yeah.
not.
No.
And so if we can be more honest and if we can
Yeah.
have better dialogue with our young people,
That's right.
they'll take longer to get married because they need to make
Yes.
informed decisions.
That's right.
And then you have to go into it. I personally have a belief that marriage is for spiritual people, spiritually mature
Mm,
people, not
yes.
mature psychologically and emotionally. Yeah, but that's just my opinion. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's for Christians, it is for the spiritually mature person because it will require so much. Our time is long gone, and I really want
Wow.
to thank all of our viewers. Donna, quickly,
Yes.
in if you could tell anybody who needs to do the runway to soar, who needs to probably do the speaker mentorship program, you've gone through the experience. What would you say to a woman right now who needs to take action, who needs to probably share her story or begin to really focus on the work that you did in your life for her to do in her life? What would you say to her?
I
I
would
say
say you are
you
worth it. You are more. Invest in yourself. Love you enough to invest in you. The best decision that I've ever made. Best decision that I've ever made. Invest in yourself. You deserve it. You owe it to yourself and you owe it to God. Don't cheat God. Don't cheat yourself.
Amen, amen, amen. Ladies, it was a blessing this week having lunch with you, wherever you joined us from, whether you were in Europe, in Africa, the Caribbean, the US, Canada, South America, Australia, wherever you're joining us from, because I have clients from all of these places. I know many of them have been supporting, and we have viewers from all over. Wherever you're joining us from, the Middle East, wherever, we thank you for taking time to join us for lunch every day this week. We look forward to welcoming some of you in the Runway to So exclusive group. We have an amazing group of women who are doing dynamic things, and we look forward to seeing you there as you make intentional steps, as Donna said, investing in yourself so that you can actually become that woman that you were meant to be. And so we are going to have our next lunchtime series in the month of May, the month where we celebrate moms, but we will also be celebrating 5 of my other clients. And we look forward to having you in our lunchtime series then. Till then, if you're not part of our women's group, you can check out the link I will put in there where you can join us in our women's group. And if you're interested in, launching your speaking platform, you can reach out to me via direct message or at info@nadinecollins.com, and we will set up an interview to see if you're a good fit for the speaker mentorship program. If you're really interested in investing in yourself and really uncovering your true purpose, you want to be in the Runway to So coaching experience, send me a message. We can put information there. We want to see you making intentional steps, taking action, aligned action with the will of God for your life. So God bless you. Have a lovely weekend. And we thank you for being here. Donna, thank you so much for honoring us with your time and your story and your mission. God
You're
bless
welcome. God bless.
you.